Welcome back. This is going to be the first and the final update to my pure Spectre Ward Tank build. If you missed the last video, essentially this is a very tanky, very powerful pure Spectre build that uses Ward along with a couple uniques, new ones, as its primary defensive mechanics. It has cleared all content in the game deathlessly. That's all Ubers, Simulacrum, etc., tier 17s, blah blah blah, and it did it outside of Trade League. I'm in a private league with about a dozen friends, so I didn't have access to the PoE trade markets to buy all my gear. Everything you see here, including the uniques, are hand farmed by yours truly. And yeah, without further ado, I'll get to the agenda. So I'm doing the introduction now. Then I'm going to show you guys an Uber Elder, an Uber Sirus, where I tank all the beams. Uber Elder, similarly, I'm just soaking in this stuff. I do the last wave of Simulacrum as well, because in the last video I had a couple people ask about that. And then I did an Uber Cortex, and I wanted to really do a damage check one. So I did a 130% more life with endurance charges Uber Cortex. Again, we're tanking tons of stuff in this fight. You're going to see my ward going up and down like crazy. I did another formed, and the reason I did the formed is because in the first video we did it, just kind of as a benchmark for the build, and now I'm doing it again where you can see all the upgrades. You'll be able to get a good idea of the progress that's been made. Then number 6 here, I'm going to do a Spectre comparison. I had a lot of people ask questions about Spectres, why I'm using what I'm using, so I'm just going to do a comparison to the other very popular Spectre currently to show you guys why I made the choice I did. So I believe I do an Uber Sirus Phase 1 with both of them. Finally, I'm going to go over the build and the mechanics again. I know it's in the first video. I'm going to go over it a little bit quickly, and mostly I'm going to show you guys the upgrades. Also, I'm sure most of you are in Trade League, and a lot of people asked about a Trade League POB, so I will include in the description a min-maxed, ultra, unlimited money Trade League POB, as well as the path of building for my current character, so you can see what it takes. And also, if you go back to the other video, that character could also do all the content, despite having half the damage of this one. So realistically, you'll have a good sense of the progression of the build that way. Yeah, so let's get to it.
I may not remember.
Father, no!
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!
Ultimate chaos. Gaze to the abyss.
When I'm ready, and not before.
Gaze to the abyss. Gaze to the abyss. You are nothing.
When I'm ready
What's this?
and not
A
before.
real talent. You've finally caught my attention.
Your lives are meaningless. Embrace nothingness. Obliteration!
The others found strength in their projections. They became reliant on it. I'm not so foolish.
I have seen beyond. Watch beauty crumble. Embrace nothingness. Creation itself.
Life really interesting enough to warrant all this pain.
This world is doomed. Your lives are meaningless. Why resist? Creation itself.
Of death, my heart races. I am
I have seen beyond. Everlasting fire.
Feel the thrill of
The void. Be silent. Die. I have seen beyond. Everlasting fire.
feel the thrill of
The void. Die.
When I'm ready and not before.
I felt something.
Hey guys, the Simulacrum was done before I actually found my perfect warlord, so the setup's a little bit different. I was experimenting a little bit with the mines you're going to see on my action bar. Overall, much weaker than the final form setup you're seeing, but I didn't have too many Simulacrum splinters, so I didn't want to re-record it with the new video. It's also not too challenging of a content, so I didn't think it would be too impressive regardless.
I need more mana.
humanity, my
I've grown
agent
fear
of
since I became the
chaos.
Godslayer.
You shall serve me whether you like it or not. I'm not going any.
Remember me when we're through here, you won't. Valdo had some ingenious designs hidden in his memories. Observe! Rayclass needs me! Repent! Darkness surrounds us! Valdo's designs were flawed. Do you remember dying here? You will. Burn away sin! Be no more! Feel the pull of the void! I will crush you! Burn away sin! Sin surrounds you! Be no more! Burn away sin! What are you? In this, the realm of the past, I am king, and you will bow.
Oops, clumsy me. I need more mana.
This
When
one
I'm ready,
is my
I'm not
own creation. Repent! Rayclass needs me! Darkness surrounds us! Ah, plenty more where that came from. Face your destruction! Sin surrounds you! Feel the pull of the void! Yes, that's it! Death sweeps in! Cleansing flames! Burn away sin! Cleansing flames! Sin surrounds you! Burn away sin! Impossible! How? This isn't over! This will never be over! I will unify humanity!
All right, I got a lot of questions about my Spectre choices. I'll go over the support Spectres later, but a lot of people, why Forged Frostbearers? Put it simply, Forged Frostbearers, in my opinion, are the top all-around Spectres for this league. They have insane offense, and they have very serviceable defense. That just makes them amazing all-arounders. The one Spectre a lot of people posed as kind of, what about these, was the Wretched Defilers. Wretched Defilers are a newer Spectre that was added last league when Tier 17s were put in. They do lightning damage, a bunch of projectiles. Wretched Defilers are good. So for reference, guys, I've been playing minion builds for about a decade now. I've tested hundreds of Spectres. It's kind of my favorite thing to do. Wretched Defilers are good. They are good at clearing. I just don't think from an all-around standpoint they can compete with Forged Frostbearers. But I didn't just want to say that to you guys. I wanted to show you a little bit of a comparison. So here we go. We have Uber Sirus Phase 1 Wretched Defilers versus Forged Frostbearers. I want to make it abundantly clear. I did not just slot Wretched Defilers into my build and let this rip. I crafted a full set of Abyss Jewels for the Wretched Defilers with flat lightning damage in addition to the other minion damage mods you would want. And of course, I made sure to find a perfect Spirit of Fortune. So that is an absolutely essential support Spectre for playing a lightning damage build with minions. It provides nearby allies the ability for, so their lightning damage with hits is lucky, which is giant. It's often like 40% more damage. And also it provides Wrath Aura, which is 18 or 19% more damage. So all in all, by the time I had finished my Wretched Defiler setup, the jewels were actually better than my Forged Frostbearer setup. And as you can see in the video, they still got massively outperformed. Took Forged Frostbearers 9 seconds to complete the Uber Sirus Phase 1. Took Wretched Defilers, who had better jewels, 26 seconds. Wretched Defilers are great at clearing. And yes, I killed tons of Uber bosses with them. When I put this setup together, I didn't just play it for like an hour. I played it for a couple days. They did a great job, but they don't have the same single target. I do like them for clearing. However, I have some gripes with them. I think the visual clarity aspect of them is so bad, it almost makes them unplayable for any difficult content. Sure, if your build's like in Trade League and worth 10 mirrors and you one-shot everything, I mean, who cares? You don't need to see anything. But if you're actually like pushing challenging content, doing things early, pushing the envelope, the fact that you cannot see anything when these things are attacking, and that they summon a bunch of charcoal donkeys from the ground and they all die and you can't see the ground at all then either, just makes them really unplayable for me. So that's my thoughts. All in all, if I made a top 10 Spectres list, Forged Frostbearers would probably be in the 1 or the 2 slot. Wretched Defilers would probably be in the 8 or the 9 slot, I would say, something like that. Alright, boys. Build review and upgrades. I am not a, YouTube partner or whatever, so I can't upload videos longer than 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to be quick, and I'm sorry for that in advance, but the more I yap, the less Uber clips and stuff I can include in the video, because I have to cut them out for the build review. Alright. Now, a little bit of a repeat here. How's the build work? I'm a ward tank. How does that work? I get a bunch of ward using the new unique belt, Stand. Stand, I have now tempering catalysted up. 60% of my armor and evasion from my body armor combined becomes ward. That's how I have big ward. 5200 ward with my flask up, 4000 with it down. Alright, so I have a giant body armor that I've hit with a tempering orb, and RNGesus prayed to me, guys. In Guild Found, Private League, SSF, whatever, you don't get many tempering orbs. I had like one guy farming heist crazy, and he had like 2. And, he gave them to me, and the second one hit. So that's insane. Last video did not have the tempering orb on there, but it was insane. All right. Second big core mechanic to the build working. Obviously, ward goes away when you get hit, so you got to make sure you don't get hit much. I use Fallen. New unique shield. Super, super overpowered. Unbelievably busted. They're going to nerf the shit out of it. Chance to block is lucky is an insane mechanic. Effectively, your effective block goes up by so much that in my case, I have 91 spell block, 88 attack block. So to even get to my ward pool, my giant 5600 life, 5000 whatever ward pool, combined 10k, you have like a 1 in 10 chance. 90% chance I block. And if you do get through to my ward pool, you got to break through that 10k life barrier, and that 10k life barrier is supported by max res. I've got 80 or 79 all res. Endurance charges by my perfect warlord, which I finally got. Oh my lord, guys, it took so long to farm this. And then I got a backup almost immediately after. I couldn't even believe it. A guy in my guild said his mapper brought it to him. Weeks I spent farming one of these. Oh, there he is, boys. Looks beautiful. All right. Then I have Sand Stance from the buffed, crazy buffed, and I think extremely good Flesh and Stone. So I can stand close to things, play close to bosses where it's nice and safe. I can see them. I can move around their spells easily with Flesh and Stone. Huge. Ailment immunity. The build's got some switches. I took out Arctic Armor, switched some nodes around to get some more reservation because now I have free endurance charges, and I got to run Purity of Elements, which gives me and my boys ailment immunity, and it helps my resist so much that I can switch around a bunch of suffixes on my gear. Amazing. Minions and taunt, I went over that last video. In addition to blocking everything, I'm a minion build and my minions taunt, so not that much stuff's even trying to hit me in the first place. It makes my ward even better. Recovery, I have the necro whatever it is, the necro ascendancy. So the leech, my minions attack and they leech health to me, which is insanely strong. However, I'm going to say this once because I get so mad when I see this. If you're a giant noob who uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points just to get the 10% of Leech's instant node, you're a noob. 10 points is insane. You should not invest 10 points for a mediocre increase in your life recovery, especially when most of the characters doing this get one shot by almost everything anyway. So it's so bad. Don't be a noob. Okay? Oops. Next. Whoop. Sorry. Last, I didn't go over this in my last video, but mobility. I run haste. I have onslaught on my one of my specters gives it to me. Don't be slow. Tell me the last time you tuned into a great PoE player, Young Roan or Ben or Uber Dan, and you saw their build be slow. Never. They have fast builds, because when you're fast, you can dodge things. You can get out of AoEs quicker. You can DPS more. And you can farm faster. You can do everything better. Be fast. Everyone was like, oh, Zealotry's more damage, man. Why aren't you running Zealotry, man? Because I'm not a noob. I don't want to move slow. Moving slow is so bad, man. Moving slow sucks. Mobility is very important. Haste, onslaught, my character flies. All right. Upgrades. There are many since you saw the build last time. Not only has the build's damage more than doubled, but the tankiness has improved as well a little bit. First, the giant tanky upgrade that I got, Iron Flask. Oh my lord. Didn't even realize how effective this would be for this build, because I didn't read it right. So this restores my ward when I get hit. Now that's great, but obviously I would have to hit that before I'm taking a big hit and when my ward is down. Luckily I don't. Used when you take a savage hit. So all the ward haters who are like, well, it's nice that you have all this whatever, you got your 5200 ward, but your ward's going to go down from some random thing and then you're going to get smoked. Or the Sirus die beam has multiple hits. Somehow you're going to not block any of them and then your ward's going to go down and then you're going to get smoked. Wrong. Because when I take a savage hit, which only affects your life, my ward gets restored. So it's always here when I need it, which is unbelievable. Unbelievably powerful. And of course I have the affix on it that gives me more ward during effect, which is crazy. I don't have any sources of more ward, so that's just a more multiplier effectively. Next upgrade, and the best of all, baby, we got that perfect warlord. Never forget. Never forget. Okay, perfect warlord gives me endurance charges and vitality, which gives me more recovery, which is the weakest part of the build. You're most vulnerable to dots. And the endurance charges means you can switch your amulet into it, which means you get an additional curse, which means you get 40% more damage, which means you can change so many things in your build, which is amazing. Boom, feels good. So I'll go over the amulet before I go over the Gloam Ring. So the amulet now has Whispers of Doom, so I can run Sniper's Mark in addition to Frostbite, huge damage there. But also, last time you saw my amulet, it was a giant piece of doo-doo. Now my amulet's amazing. Tier 1 life, +1 all skills, chaos res, cold res. Some painful reforges on this, and it filled the mods, and I don't have the balls to annul it, so we're just leaving it the way it is. But I got the chaos res I need, and my resistor capped, so I'm happy. And I didn't have enough catalysts to modify it up, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Next upgrade, Gloam Ring. Okay, so because the reflections are back, you can you can make a good Gloam Ring base by vendoring 5 of the crappy mirrored ones, which is what I did. So I vendored 5 of them. I got a Gloam Ring base, and then I unloaded 30k harvest juice until I got a really good one. And boy, did I get a really good one. I got minion life, attack speed, cast speed, tier 1 minion damage. Everything in this ring's crazy, and an open suffix. So it is just beautiful, as it deserves to be, because it took forever to put together 5 Gloam Rings in a non-trade league environment. That's one. Catalysted that up with life, and then I catalysted this one up with attack. This ring's great. Minion damage, minion attack speed, life, dex, some energy shield. Nice stuff. And boots are my next big upgrade. I made some +2 to level of Spectre boots. This is by using a Maven Orb of Dominance on Elder boots with +1. I upgraded that, and then it's kind of really hard in outside of Trade League to get other good mods. But I managed to get move speed, life regen, and then I crafted on the cold chaos res, and we're good to go. It's not going to get much better than this for my league. It's just too hard. Catalysted up the belt, 20%. That makes the 50 go to 60. There were some awesome people in the YouTube comments in my last build that pointed that out to me. I had actually overlooked it. And then we have a guy grinding Ultimatum hard in our league for a Hate Forge, and he helped me out with some of the catalysts on that one, so that was super helpful. Gloves are the same as you last saw them. Body armor, the only thing that changed is that juicy tailoring orb, baby. Whew! Had like 2 of them, hit it on the second one. RNGesus blessed me on that day. And then, of course, the wand. I was using the Darkseer in the last video, and I made it clear that was not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Now I've got so many plus level of minions, I don't even need a +2 wand. So I made this. I just got minion damage and hybrid minion damage with a +1 minion, and then I reforged and got really shitty minion attack speed, cast speed, but I didn't want to keep reforging because I was really worried of filling the item and not being able to craft trigger. The character's got more than enough damage to do everything anyway, so I didn't want to get greedy. There we go, boys. That's kind of the deal. Short and sweet. Build feels amazing. I'm going to include a POB like the one here. This is the min-max trade one. We'll go back to my actual setup really quick. I'm missing something, yes. So we got my setup here. So I'm going to give you my setup. This is what I actually am running in League. So we got 26 million damage. We got all the same defenses as before. Even though the belt is not bugged, but very misleading, it says the belt actually removes EHP, despite also saying it increases my max hit by like 40% for everything. The reason it does that is because evasion's calculated really weird. It's like assuming everything's an attack, even though obviously, especially as a minion build, the vast majority of things that are dangerous to me are spells. I'm not really up there getting attacked too often. Despite this saying this taking my EHP down, I could remove it, make my EHP go up so much. Look at that. Obviously, that's not the case. You look, all my max hits went down. Like, this is just foolish. So my evasion went up a little bit, which is quite irrelevant to my build. But yeah. Huge tankiness, pretty much it. As far as tree changes go, there wasn't any huge changes to the tree. Everything's kind of the same, except I got a Fortress Covenant from Evaldo's map. Damage-wise, it's kind of the same as an Abyss Jewel, but the block is crazy good. And I got a Massive Threat of Hope from killing a bunch of Uber Siruses. So here we go. And yeah, that's kind of the deal, boys. There's really not much else to it. I tried to keep it as short and sweet as I can so I can include as many Uber fights as I can in the video. If you have questions, I answered literally almost every single comment on the last video, and I'm going to try to do the same for this. Yeah, configuration shows you what you need to know. And of course, because you guys are fiends, and I had so many people asking me if I was in Trade League and I had the unlimited money Trade League min-max setup from hell, what would my build be? So I made one of those. I'll have the POB for both of them in the description. But yeah, it goes up to 70 million DPS, and honestly, the gear's not even that good. But yeah, it's crazy. Obviously, this is like an unlimited money Trade League build, but oh boy, does it cook. So yeah, that's the deal, guys. Not saying it's the best build. It's definitely not the worst build, but I'm saying it's new, it's cool, it uses unique mechanics, it clears every single piece of content deathless, and it wears SSF gear while doing it. So there's no huge requirements. You don't need to play a build to farm this. This is my only character in my private league. I can show you that right here. This is my only character in my private league. Where is it? So I farmed every single thing with this character, with this build, no exceptions. So yeah. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the comments. Check the descriptions for the POBs.